Hey folks, this is Matt once again. This is just another different little video where I wanted to briefly talk about Joe Bob Briggs, the great man Joe Bob Briggs. If you don't know, he's basically the master of the B movies and the fact of the drive-in movie critic, so to speak. And the way I found him was basically Monstervision on TNT, but I know he did other shows before. He actually had a teeny role in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which got cut out, but it's actually on that DVD they released a few years ago, actually. But Joe Bob Briggs, I found on Monstervision. I think one of the first ones I saw was the Dusk to Dawn Friday the 13th Marathon, where they talk about part 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. And in between, he would, talk and give his words and stuff like that, and his ratings. And he was very funny. He was very entertaining, and I watched Monstervision a lot on TNT. I love Monstervision. Unfortunately, they don't really have anything like that on cable, which is probably yet another reason why I don't have cable anymore. Fuck cable. Cable just takes all the good shit and just says fuck it. That's what I think. But anyway, there were times where he had Roddy Piper on. They showed, I think, The Serpent and Rainbow or The People Understand. One of the West Virginia's New Nightmare, maybe. I can't remember. And basically, he was able to talk with Wes Craven. This is a very funny guy, but also very knowledgeable in driving movies and movies of the 70s and 80s. Just very knowledgeable about film in general. And the main reason why I wanted to do this was to sort of showcase with Joe Bob Briggs, basically to judge who out there are fans of Joe Bob Briggs. What did you see with Joe Bob Briggs? Did you watch Monstervision or the shows he did before? That type of thing. And also the DVDs that he did. I know he's actually in a small part in this film called Hogzilla, but you watch the trailer and it's a shitty movie. You could tell. It says stars him, but he's probably in it for, he's in it for only 5 minutes, and it looks like a shitty movie. But these commentaries that he did for these films are fantastic. Even though there's probably one film that is actually a good movie, in my opinion, that he does a commentary on. But, his commentaries are very funny, they're very entertaining. He did a commentary for this film, I Spit on Your Grave, aka Day of the Woman. And am I a big fan of the movie? No. But the commentary by Joe Bob Briggs is very solid. It tells a lot about film, and film about the old days and the controversy behind it, and how this is sort of a feminist movie, and the fact that the lead lady, she doesn't whimper, she doesn't scream, she does fight back, stuff like that. And even if you don't buy his stuff, it's still okay, I get where you're coming from. And he's very funny at times too, but he's also very informative. And he did a lot of info. He talks about Cisco Aber's review back in the day, and he talks about the people in the movie and the director, about how I guess the director had witnessed the aftermath of a rape, and he didn't really see a rape happening. He saw the aftermath of someone getting raped. He saw the aftermath of it. I guess police were there and stuff like that, and saw how the woman looked like. So I guess he wanted to show that rape is ugly. Rape is not erotic. And the film, I'm not a big fan of the movie, and yes, I know there's a remake, which I don't care about. But in the movie, the rape is ugly. And it's meant to be. And that's sort of what Joe Bob Briggs did at. It's meant to be ugly. It's no, I'm going to show you what rape is. This is ugly, this is not erotic, this is not fun. And it's very interesting sort of look at films of the 70s and stuff like that. And it's always very informative, even though it's well, I don't really care about it, but you sort of get sucked in Plus, when movies fuck up, he sort of calls on it. But very entertaining commentaries. He did one for the incredibly strange creatures who stopped living and became mixed up zombies. Probably the longest fucking title ever. And there's there's a commentary by Joe Bob Briggs, and he mentions about how, for instance, the films, they sort of had a problem with Stanley Kubrick. Believe it or not, because Chooper made a film called Doctor Strange, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. And they sort of I guess maybe the title before this was a little bit similar, and it's like they had you learn interesting stuff like that, and the background of these type of independent films. This was back in the 60s this film was made. But even if you don't like the films, it's interesting commentary, interesting information. This is the one I actually like, Hell High. I actually like the movie. It's basically, back in the day, a girl caused an accident that got people killed. But today she's a teacher, and she has some students who fuck with her. And you have a lot of the students, the 4 students. And it almost becomes like a revenge movie, but a little bit of a slasher, sort of exploitation, sort of a mix of things, which I like about it. And again, Joe Bob Briggs does a great job with the commentary. Very fun, very entertaining. You also have, you have Blood Sisters. And basically this is sort of a sorority house slasher, which even Joe Bob Briggs gets pissed off at these commentaries sometimes. Like how you start with a death scene at the beginning, which isn't much, and then no one dies until the last 15 minutes. And it's like cat mouse, cat mouse, cat mouse. Hurry it up. And also he makes a good thing at the beginning, a boy comes in and kills 2 people. That's sort of your starting event, then it's many years later. But then, these people are in this house, and they keep seeing all these ghosts. And it's like, who the fuck are all these ghosts coming from? The kid only killed 2 people. And that's what Joe Bob says. I'm like, yeah, that's true. And then at the end, you find out it's not really a ghost. And Joe Bob's like, well, wait a minute. What the fuck was it with the ghost? He didn't say fuck, but he might as well. What was it with the ghost? Was the ghost, playing? What was... And also you find info this is read by Roberta Finley, a woman, and they helped do a Tenement, which is an interesting film, and also how she was with someone that wasn't really her husband, maybe ex-husband at that point, who I think died during some crash, I forget. The guy, he talks about how that guy was actually working on the first 3D porn movie, which was interesting. Also, the 2 people, Roberta Finley and then the guy, her husband, ex-husband who had passed away at that time, before that, they had done this film called Snuff, about how the info you find out is, in the commentaries, that they took the film, they made this film called whatever, and the retailers didn't like it. So all they did was take the film and add at the ending this real footage of the camera, someone on the crew getting killed. And supposedly it's a snuff movie. And basically the producer had faked all this publicity and lied about it so that people would think, oh, there's all this controversy, let's go see the movie. You find interesting stuff about the timeline of these films, which is what I like. And plus, he's very funny, like I said. It's very entertaining stuff. Let's see, you also have, Blood Shack, which this guy is never in the movie. This guy's never in the movie. The guy in the movie is dressed all in black. He has a fencing sword. This is one of the most boring fucking movies ever made. And Joe Bob Briggs kind of tells you that it's pretty boring. And there are times where even he gets pissed off about how boring the movie is at that. But it's very funny. It's very entertaining. It's better than the movie. Plus, again, a lot of info. The Hollywood Strangler meets the Skid Row Slasher. Basically, the Groundhog's Day of horror films. Even though not technically. But, again, even though Bob Briggs gets pissed off at the repetitious of a guy, he calls someone, he strangles someone. Then someone goes into a bookstore where there's only like 5 books on the walls, and Joe Bob comments on it. Then someone kills a bum with a knife. Then he calls and strangles someone. He goes into a bookstore. Then he finds a girl who kills a bum with a knife. And then he calls someone and strangles someone else. And then she kills him with a knife. Even Joe was like, then he's going to do that. And then she's going to go in the bookstore again. Being very funny. Let's see. He did 2 biker films. One, Run Angel Run. Where he talks a lot about the actor William Smith, who played Conan's dad in Conan the Barbarian. He tells a lot about his history, like he mentions about how he was in the fist fight with Clint Eastwood in Any Which Way You Can, the stuff he did for the government as well. And he talks a lot about biker films, from whether the Roger Corman days and all that stuff. Same thing with this one, the Hell's Angels 69. Even has a funny story about how he sort of got an award from the Hells Angels, and they say, if you don't take this award, or if you don't get here, I'd be forced to beat you up. Tells a lot about the Hells Angels, and about how the actual Hells Angels sort of participated in the movie, and a lot of info about, the history of films, or exploitation films, including the biker films. Warlock Moon. A shitty movie, but interesting in the fact that this was the same year as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And, he talks a little bit about that, and, again, very fun commentary. Then you have, the Double-D Avenger, in which you have 60-year-old women basically star in the movie, and one being a superhero, the Double-D Avenger, and you never see their tits, thankfully. But even Joe Bob Briggs is like, where's the tits? And of course, Jesse James meets Frankenstein's Daughter. I think this is the first one I ever saw or heard of his commentaries. And after this, I'm like, I read it on Netflix when I used to have Netflix. I'm like, man, I gotta go check out all this other stuff. Yeah, you get a lot of info on film and film history of films I care about, or at least that are interesting. He also did Samurai Cop, which this cover is more interesting than anything in the movie. This is probably one of the worst action movies of all time. And even Joe Bob Briggs struggles in watching this. And then it stars Robert Z'Dar, who's in Tango and Cash, the Maniac Cop. One of the worst fucking action movies ever. And Joe Bob Briggs, he tries his best, and he actually pulled it off. But yeah, that's all the Joe Bob Briggs sort of DVDs that he did. But anyway, I'm probably going to cut this short so it could be under 15 minutes, hopefully. But, if you never checked out Joe Bob Briggs stuff, definitely check it out. If you see any of these movies, the Millennium edition of I Spit on Your Grave, even if you don't like the movie, Warlock Moon, and make sure a lot of times they'll have this Joe Bob Briggs sort of thing that says it's on there. Pretty much all these have it. Films, you like films of the 70s and 80s, a lot of info from back in the day, but also with some very funny commentary. Joe Bob Briggs is definitely worth a look. Thanks for watching. Take care. And, like the first rule to driving, anybody can die at any moment. Also, when the monster is dead, the movie is over. right now.